Hello friends and welcome to another video lesson from DBOS Talks. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified of new uploads. This video is part of the playlist called the SQL Mistakes to Avoid, and here we'll learn about the mathematical error in SQL called divisor is equal to 0. It's something that we must look out for and handle properly. Let's look at the table AQ $Qs. Okay. Select name, table object numbers usage from AQ $Qs. Okay, so actually I've opened the table structure of the table. I'm using SQL Developer. So if I click on that, you can see that if we focus on the column called usage, which is here, the data type is number. Okay, so when I did a query on that table, you can see that indeed the values of usage column consists of numbers, numeric values, 0, 1, etc. Okay, having seen its values, let's do some mathematical processing on this column called usage. Okay, just making a slight modification on the SQL query. So select name usage, and then I have a pseudo column here, which is doing mathematical operation of division on the column called usage. Okay, usage divided by 10. The division operator in SQL is a slash, and then as is just the alias, and give it a nickname or an alias of div by 10, and then from AQ$. So nowhere condition, I'm querying from two columns, and the third is just a column which is derived from the value of the usage column, which is the second one. Okay, let's look at the output. We see that there are three columns, but as I mentioned, only the first two are actual columns in the table AQ$Qs. The third is the result of a mathematical processing, specifically division. So we can see if you remember division in school, division consists of these parts of division, you can say. The one which comes first is called a dividend, and then it is being divided by what is called a divisor. Okay, I'm telling you this because the terminologies will matter once you see the error, so you will know what the error is about. Okay, so again, in division, the first mathematical value, number value, is called the dividend, and then it is being divided by what is called divisor. Okay, so in my example here above, the dividend is the number value of usage column, while the divisor is 10, a constant number of value of 10. Okay, now let us make a minor change to the query. How is that? Instead of this being the dividend and this being the divisor, I will switch them. So it becomes 10 divided by usage. Okay, so it seems like a minor change. And then let's re-execute this query. Now we get an error, an Oracle error called, or it says, divisor is equal to 0. Again, you remember dividend and then divided by the divisor. But the error is saying that divisor, which is the value of the column usage, is 0. So if you remember, if I run again the query I have just shown you earlier, just to be refreshed, you will notice that indeed some of the values of usage are zeros, like this one and this and this, right? So those are the ones that caused this Oracle error, divisor is equal to 0. Okay, that's why we're getting this error. And it is not only an SQL error, by the way, but it is at the very core a mathematical error which will never be allowed in mathematics because it will not make mathematical sense. Okay, so this has to be fixed. This has to be addressed. To avoid this error, we must ensure that our divisor is not equal to 0. Okay, so that is something we cannot just sweep under the rug and ignore, because it's really a mathematical fact. Mathematics will never accept a 0 as a divisor, so you have to do something about it. Either you don't allow such processing to happen on certain values, you put some logic, some if condition that if the column value of, the value of the column usage is 0, then you do not process it. That's one. Another way is you will use if you wanted to really avoid or suppress this kind of error, then you will do some kind of processing. So in my case, I'm just showing you, this is not something that you would do in your own computer system, because before you do this, you should be confident and sure that the changes you're doing will make good business sense. Okay, so in my case, I am showing you how what is one way of going around it, handling that 0. So in my case, you say this is the dividend still 10. The divisor is usage, but now I used a decode statement to it. A decode, if you saw one of my previous videos in the same channel, it works like an if then else statement within a select statement. Okay, so decode a pair of parentheses, and then it's saying if the value of usage column is 0, which is one we want to look out for, then I will pass a value of 1. Else, I will just use the non-zero value of usage column. That's what it means. Okay, so let's just look at what this will do. Now you don't see an error. So what happened was, if you look at the second column called usage, some are of the value of 0, right? But because of the decode statement that I have added to the select statement, code clause there, it is able to handle the value which is 0. So decode usage, if the value of usage is 0, which is the case here, then it will be the denominator, the divisor will be, what divisor will be used is the divisor will be 1, will be this one. Else, if it's a non-zero value, then use that usage value. Okay, so that's what's happening. So again, as a caveat, this you can only use if you're very, very sure that the use of the decode will truly make sense, perfect sense in the business logic, in the requirement of the logic that you require. Otherwise, do not just blindly use the decode just to suppress the divisor equals 0, because like I said, at the very core, it's a mathematical error. It is not a bug. It is really something that will not make mathematical sense. Okay, so in this video, we learned about an SQL error called divisor is equal to 0, which is also a mathematical error. Again, in division, the first number value that comes is called dividend, and it's divided by the divisor. And at all cost, the divisor must not be equal to 0. That's the point of what you should be learning at this. A great takeaway from this video lesson. Okay, divisor is equal to 0. You avoid that. And if indeed you want to suppress the error, it must make perfect sense. It is something that will not cover up some errors in the logic. Okay, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe and click the bell. I'll be seeing you in the next video.